There's a philosophy that has helped people survive extremely difficult situations. And today you are going to discover how this philosophy can help you win the battles of your daily life. 2. You probably know someone who has gone through such difficult situations that few people would survive. I'm talking about the kind of person who, while everyone else crumbles at the first sign of difficulty, keeps going. While everyone else complains and gives up, this person perseveres. Many people don't know this, but there's a Japanese concept called Gaman. It is often mistranslated as simply endurance or perseverance, but it is deeper. It means enduring the seemingly unbearable with patience and dignity. It is not just about surviving the storm. It is about not letting the storm destroy your character. It is the silent resilience that transforms suffering into a ritual of strength. This concept doesn't teach you to avoid suffering. It teaches you to go through it with dignity and purpose. And when you understand that, nothing can stop you anymore. To understand this, we must look at the life of a young man named David. David was 16 years old. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He wasn't so poor as to go hungry, but his family knew intimately the burden of bills that Duante did up at the end of the month. No presents for holidays, no luxuries, no room for error. And there was one detail that made everything even harder. His father had abandoned the family when David was still a child. Since then, it had only been him, his mother, and 2 younger siblings. His mother worked 2 jobs. She left before sunrise and returned when the moon was already in the sky. David saw in her eyes the weariness that doesn't disappear with a night's sleep. The weariness that accumulates when you carry the weight of the world alone. That's when something changed inside him. David had to be the man of the house very early on. Not because someone asked him to, but because he made a silent promise. A promise that no one heard, but that burned in his heart every single day. I am going to give her a better life. But how? He had no money. He had no connections. The only thing he had was a will that hurt so much it was painful. So he decided education was the only way out. If he dedicated himself to his studies, maybe he could change his family's destiny. But reality didn't care about his promises. It worked at part-time at a supermarket, 4 hours every day after school. So, his routine was this. Wake up at 5:30 a.m. school. Work. Get home. Help his mother. Study. Sleep around midnight. 5 hours of sleep every single day. The first month was hell. He woke up, exhausted. He slept on top of his books. The routine was crushing him. By the 4th week, the idea was hammering in his head. College is for people who have time. I need money now. I should quit. That's when he talked to his history teacher, an older, quiet woman who always looked at him with that look of someone who understands. David poured his heart out about everything, about the exhaustion, the pressure, the desire to give up. The teacher listened in silence. When he finished, she took a deep breath and said, David, my parents are Japanese. They fled Japan during World War II. When they arrived here, they suffered terrible prejudice. We were starving, David. Starving 4 days without eating. And do you know what I heard my parents saying to each other every night? David waited. Game on, she said. It means to persevere with dignity, to endure what needs to be endured without complaining. It's not just about enduring it quietly. It's about understanding that temporary suffering is the price of permanent transformation. She looked him in the eyes. David, you're already practicing Gaman, and you don't even know it. You work, you study, you take care of your siblings. You don't complain. You simply do it. What you need now is not to give up. It's to understand the depth of what you're already doing. That night, David went home. He looked at his mother sleeping on the couch, still in her work uniform. He realized then. She didn't know the word Gaman, but she lived it. Every morning she woke up, tired, aching, and went to work without complaint. That was Gaman. He wasn't learning a new philosophy. He was inheriting a legacy. He realized that his complaint about being tired was an insult to her silent sacrifice. He stayed up until 2 o'clock a.m. reading, he discovered that Gaman doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means acknowledging the pain and consciously deciding that you will get through it with your self-respect intact. And then he came across two other concepts that blew his mind: Kasan and Ikigai. David understood everything at once. He built his life on a triangle. Ikigai was the why-hist family. Kasan was the how improving 1% every day. And Gaman was the what, the fuel of dignity that kept him going when the other two were you and enough. When you have all three, you don't just survive, you transcend. The next day, David woke up different. He didn't wake up more motivated. He woke up determined. He sat down and made a plan. Not a motivational plan full of impossible promises, but a real plan. Wake up at 5 o'clock. AM exercise. Study. School. Work. Help mom. Sleep. 6 hours of sleep. It wasn't ideal, but it was possible. The first week was a living hell. His body screamed for more sleep. His mind negotiated every day. Just today you can sleep an extra half hour. But David took a deep breath and repeated to himself, I endure this with dignity. This temporary discomfort is the price of the life I want. Are you willing to pay that price? By the third week, the morning exercise had ceased to be torture and had become a ritual. A month later, the routine was working. But then came the first real test. Because there will always be barriers. 3 months later, David's younger brother fell ill. His mother had to miss work. David covered her shift. He worked 12 hours that day. He got home at 11 p.m. exhausted and broken. The alarm went off at 5 o'clock a.m. He turned it off and stared at the ceiling. His body was begging to stay in bed. That's when he remembered Gaman. It's not about how I feel, it's about who I've decided to be. He got up, 8 DS push-ups instead of 20. He studied for 20 minutes instead of 45. But he didn't create a gap. This is the no-gap rule. Gaman isn't about intensity, it's about continuity. The river can be shallow or it can be deep, but it never stops flowing. A gap is a crack in your dignity. A reduced effort is simply an adjustment. He didn't break the chain. And then, the turning point. One Sunday morning, while washing a neighbor's car to earn extra money, David realized something. He was good at it. Fast. Meticulous. The neighbor said, "You should do this professionally." The seed was planted. David made simple flyers. Professional car wash. Weekends. Fair price. The first month, he had 3 regular customers. He earned $150 per week. It wasn't much. Bought at Elped. He continued working at the supermarket, but he started investing that extra money in better materials. Quality wax. Professional vacuum. Kazan, 1% better. Every day. In the second month, he had 8 customers. In the third month, 15. David wasn't doing this just for the money. He was learning something bigger. When you persevere with dignity, when you deliver consistent quality, the world begins to notice. Senior year, David now had 25 regular customers. He hired 2 school friends to help. Then came the time to apply to colleges. He wrote his essay about Gaman, about persevering with dignity. 3 months later, the letter arrived. He had been accepted into a state university with a full scholarship. His mother cried tears of joy, but then came the impossible decision. The car wash business was doing so well that he was making more money on weekends than he did at the supermarket in an entire month. He could expand, hire more people, or he could go to college and let the business die. His mother said, "David, business can wait. Go to college." But David had learned one thing from Gaman. Perseverance isn't about choosing the easy way out. It's about choosing the right way out, even when it's the hardest. He told her, "Mom, I'll do both. Not because I need to, but because I can." What are you capable of that you are afraid to attempt? David went to college. He studied business administration. He continued his car wash business on weekends. In his first year, he had 40 clients. In his second year, he opened a physical location. In his third year, 2 locations. He learned about marketing in college and applied it to the business. When he graduated 4 years later, his business was making $20,000 a month. His mother no longer needed to work 2 jobs. He paid off the family debts. He enrolled his siblings in a better school. But do you know what David says when people ask him how he did it? He doesn't talk about business strategy. He says, "Gaman, I persevered with dignity when giving up seemed like the only option." The difference between people who transform their lives and people who remain stagnant is not in talent or opportunities. It's in the ability to keep going when all logical reasons say to stop. Gaman isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about recognizing that life will knock you down. It will test you. It will give you reasons to give up every single day. And yet, you choose to get up. You choose to continue. You choose to do what needs to be done with dignity and self-respect intact. David had days when he cried from exhaustion. There were days when he wanted to give up, but he never created a gap. The river never stopped flowing. The question remains, are you ready to incorporate Gaman into your life? Because it won't be easy. It won't be comfortable. You'll want to give up every single day. But when you understand that temporary suffering is the price of permanent transformation, everything changes. When you define your ikigai, your reason for living, and commit to Kasan, 1% better every day, and sustain all of that with Gaman, perseverance with dignity, you become unstoppable. David wasn't special. He didn't have superpowers. He had a family that depended on him. An impossible routine, and a clear decision. I'm not going to give up. And that decision, renewed every single day, completely transformed his life. The secret strength of those who never give up is not the absence of fear. It's the presence of purpose. It's looking in the mirror and saying, no matter what happens today, I will persevere with dignity. That is Gaman. And when you truly understand it, when you truly practice it, you discover that you are stronger than you ever imagined. If you've listened this far, thank you for your attention. Tell me in the comments, what is your ikigai? And what will your plan be to achieve your goal? Remember, perseverance with dignity is the only strength that no one can take away from you. Be present. Walk with honor. Follow the path. Until the next video.